Hi, Janelle.
Would you mind grabbing me a copy of both of those, please? I'm sorry, the agenda. Thanks.
There either. Long time because I had taken care of my mom today, so I understand.
Pay that. Don't read.
Oh.
Owner contract.
It was progress meeting,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
and no, I did not. I know you left me a message earlier. In between.
I put it down on paper.
Is that
Before
what
I
you
had-
emailed out?
Before I had yours or anybody else's input.
That's good.
You put it down in the corner.
Call the work session of the Isabella County Board of Commissioners to order. Stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, please.
Here.
Marino,
Here. Here.
Here.
Commissioner Embry.
Here.
Commissioner Jalzinski,
Here.
Commissioner Hope.
Here.
All present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next up will be approval of the agenda. We'll start out with general public comments. We'll have a presentation from the Isabella County Administrator Controller, a report rather. We have no appointments to boards and commissions, committee reports, Finance and Administration Committee.
Mr. Chairman, Finance and Administration Committee is all set.
Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Justice and County Affairs Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
And Human Resources and Public Works Committee.
Human Resources and Public Works Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have no intergovernmental affairs, no administrator controller issues, no unfinished business, no new business. We'll have general public comment and then announcements and then adjournment. So with that, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move Jelazinski.
Fort Embry.
Been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Have an agenda and we'll start out with general public comment. Or anyone for general public comment?
Bills.
I see no one coming forward and no, I don't see any hands raised online. So we'll keep moving right along. Your presentations and special reports, Isabella County Administrator Controller Report.
Thank you. Almost didn't have one, but I felt it was important to report out, especially today. I think the headline is today we got control of the building that we're leasing for the next year. So that was pretty exciting. We had 2 meetings today. Well, the first one was with the elected officials that are going to be relocating to make sure that the spaces are going to work for them. And I'm happy to say Clerk Lux did decide to join us in the building. Prosecuting attorney Barbary, the space is just not going to work for him. The space in that building is a big open room, as you can imagine, 15, 16 employees, crime victim advocates needing private spaces. It's just not going to work. But I did tour today with PA Barbary, a space that he's been investigating, if you will, looking into, and you have set that budget. So I'll be working to negotiate additional space for his offices. Pretty exciting though, to see just the the level of mindedness from our departments, the level of flexibility, the level of even just giving when they're in pretty tough working environments right now. So it's really neat to see the different departments step up. We're pretty excited. So in the building, we will have movers now. It's pretty exciting because movers know where things are going, right? We've been filling airport hangars, we've been filling storage spaces, but now we know where we're going to end up and we have access to the building, so we're not moving anything twice necessarily. It can all go there now. So that started today and will continue until we can get out of the building. I think tomorrow's going to be a big push. Weather isn't helping us any, but that's not slowing us down either. The road commission even loaned out some awning tent type things so that the movers don't have to be out in the rain, even at the county building. Yeah. So everybody's stepping up. I did get a contract from Quality Environmental Services. That's the abatement contractor that the board awarded the abatement bid to. And I've sent that to Attorney Perone to review. So we'll have that hopefully soon for signature. Pretty excited. We're moving forward. As you know from their schedule, the abatement contractors want to start next week. They have to do background checks and fingerprinting because of that third floor storage room and the types of files that are there. So we're working through that now. I don't know if we'll be in a position for them to start early next week, but it's going to move fast now that we have a place to land. So be excited there. Any questions about asbestos? I know we have a little discussion coming under finance, so I don't want to go into too much detail that we might reiterate there, but just wondered if there's any questions at this point. Two other issues before you is a letter from Bureau of Indian Affairs. They've approved another parcel to go into trust for the Saginaw Chippewa Indian Reservation. So there's information there that's no action needs to be taken from this board. It's basically a notice only. When the requests are first sent to BIA, they do notice us then as well. I don't remember getting noticed on this specific one, but it could be that it's predates my memory, I suppose. Are there any questions about that action? Another thing this time of year comes the administrator controller annual performance evaluation. The way that process has gone in the past, if the board would like to continue that process, I fill out my portion, how I think I'm doing across all of the categories, SMART goals that I want to see tackled in the next year, and just some comments. And then there's a column for you to go in and write your column. Write your comments based on your thoughts about my performance. Those are then sent from you to Attorney Bonnie Toski, who compiles the results and does a really nice job of getting all that back to us. Is there anyone who would like to proceed in a different fashion this year? Okay, so I will be getting my portion filled out to you soon. Okay, and there'll be a deadline in that to get it back to Attorney Toski. Okay. Are there any questions for me? That's all I intended to go over in my report tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No appointments to boards and commissions brings us to Finance and Administration Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is consider ratifying and placing on file the invoice list dated October 27, 2023, the amount of $246,823.40. The invoice list dated November 10th, 2023, in the amount of $225,621.22, and the adjustment list dated November 16, 2023. Going to the October 27th invoice list, I didn't really have any questions or comments about any of the bill or payments that raise the level of 5,000 or more, or any of the background information? I noticed that we're getting quite a bit in terms of computer, laptops, printers, desktops, and so on, which I don't know if that's not a budgeted item, correct? It's items that we need because of the relocation.
It's actually both.
It's both.
It's actually both. Yes, Michelle had a lot of those things budgeted for this year that usually she would order them throughout the year. But the need was there, so she just got them all up front. For the most part, I think those were budgeted expenses, maybe some scanners that weren't budgeted. Yeah.
So all part of the process of getting up and running again. Thank you. I appreciate it, Michelle. Are there any questions dealing with the October 27th list? For those in the audience, we do get these at home and we discuss them in committee. And then they come to the work session and then we make the approval. So there's many ayes, and they also go through administration review. Moving on then to the November 10th list. Again, I had I'm very familiar. You see these time and time again. We do have another. Let's see if I can find it. We do have a Commission on Aging Pavilion project, progress bill number 1 for their new pavilion. I'm not sure that's broken ground yet, has it?
That counts.
Well, that's something. Other than that, they're very familiar, contracts, obligations that come before us on a regular basis. Any questions?
Yeah, just a real quick comment. If you notice on this one on the Jackson County Youth Center, is how desperate we are for youth housing and how expensive it is to send them out of county. So that's just for one child in there. So
You see a regular listing of bills over 5,000 for youth care of one manner, or one provider or another provider. Other questions or comments on that list? All right, moving on then to the adjustment list. The adjustment list will bring up additions or changes to the two invoice lists we've already talked about. Most of them are kind of early payments that didn't show on the list, early payments for a discount. Oftentimes it's Gordon Food, or early payments for utilities because the utility providers such as the City of Mount Pleasant or consumers, they have a different schedule they go by than we do for paying our bills here at the county. So we pay those so we don't have a late fee. And all of them kind of went into that area. I didn't see anything that was a correction of a tax, sales tax error or anything. We had an administration entry error, minor one, but any questions on the adjustment list?
It happens.
I would have to mention that, right?
Thank you.
Yes. No questions or comments, then we'll move this for approval to tonight's regular meeting.
Second item for consideration for the Finance and Administration Committee meeting is to consider entering into a 5-year renewal of the lease agreement with 8CAP and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same. I'd like to read this background a little bit because I'm not familiar with 8CAP, and I thought it was pretty impressive what the services they provide.
And
They are here today.
Janelle, how are you? Is that correct, Janelle?
Hi, yes.
Hey.
Hi, thank you.
I'm going to turn this over to you and let you enlighten the board.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for inviting me here tonight. I'm here today to ask for renewal of our 5-year agreement. We currently have an early Head Start center in a modular building on a property located on Preston Avenue. And that is where we have our early Head Start center in Mount Pleasant, and we serve 8 infants and toddlers in the Head Start program. And that program is always full. We always have a waiting list. We'd love to have additional centers in Isabella County if the opportunity would ever present us. So, but for tonight, our 5-year agreement for that property is coming to an end at the end of the month. And so we are hoping that you are willing to continue that so we can continue to offer those services that are so important to the children and the families in our community.
I would like to add to that a couple of things. One, it's $200 a month for a Head Start program. I think it's a money well spent. And then two, I understand that your budget for the year is set and it incorporates the $200 a month currently.
That
And-
is correct. Yes, our Head Start budget year runs the calendar year, so January 1st through
Okay.
December 31st, and I submit the grant in October. So yes, it has already been submitted.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Yes.
With the agreement that we have with ACAP is money, I mean, we don't get a whole lot of rent, but we don't have a whole lot of property there. And we've done this for a while. They're excellent services that CAP agencies across the state of Michigan provide to our local residents. And having a preschool program there, I think is very important. There's a shortage of that kind of service in the county.
Exactly. Wish it could be
Great.
live. Yeah. Gentlemen, any other comments? If hearing none, we'll move this item to our regular board meeting this evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Nell.
Thank you.
Have a great
ya.
Thanksgiving.
Yep, you too.
Item is consider entering into a second amendment to the medical examiner service agreement with Edward W. Sparrow for medical examiner services for the period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same. If we have anybody there, or Madam Administrator, would you like to give us a little background on it?
Certainly, I will. I believe we have contracted with Sparrow since 2014, January 1st of 2014 for excuse me, medical examiner and investigator services. They approached us. We've usually had like a 3-year contract with them, but they approached us with this 1-year renewal because they are actually working. They've had their MEIs as contracted employees and want to try to bring that in-house. I don't think they know what that looks like yet, but proposing that the next year would kind of be a little bit of a pause, keep things as they are while they figure out what that looks like. I have discussed with Sheriff some concerns of his if the MEI situation were to change, right? So we'll be working closely with Sparrow on that over the next year to make sure that the changes they make are agreeable to us going forward, or we may be, looking at certainly other options. But what's in front of us right now is a year extension at a 6% increase. Tim Perrone did create the second amendment to medical examiner services agreement, which is in your packet. It does serve to extend it through the next calendar year. And it leaves a blank for the amount, the annual amount and the monthly amount. And the reason that is because as I was writing the staff report, I couldn't reconcile our agreements and what had been granted with the language in our contracts kept things at a 4% increase every year. And it didn't jive with what I was seeing. So I reached out to Sparrow and they are researching that right now. I believe the maximum would be what is written in the staff report is estimated at $163,350. The most it would be is $163,355. So the estimate was pretty close, but I still want to confirm with Sparrow what that amount should be, because we're not just saying 6% off what we've been paying them. We're going back to make sure, okay, it started at this. We had a 4%, it should be this. Another 4%, it should be this, and we're following it through. So that is why you see a blank there. And I guess I would propose having, you can authorize chairman to sign this tonight, certainly, but I would propose that he wait to sign it until I verify what those numbers should be.
Very important service, and we've gotten excellent service from Sparrow Hospital, the medical examiner.
And one other thing I know we discussed in committee is that the per capita cost versus surrounding counties is very much in line. So they're not asking for something outrageous compared to the other counties around us. So it falls in line with.
Who knows? Maybe when they bring it in-house, they may find it's cheaper than contractual and we'll get a reduction.
Nice.
We need to see what that looks like, right? And because the fear is, I think, if I understand Sheriff's concerns correctly, if these aren't local folks, our guys will be sitting around waiting for someone to show up, right? And that was the whole reason we went with the Sage Transport Services instead of MMR for non-emergency transports, right? It's an issue. Our guys can't be waiting out there. There's other things for them to do. So we just need to make sure that change doesn't create an issue on it.
Sheriff, did you want to weigh in on this at all, or?
I think we need to.
Down. Yeah, I think we need to let Sparrow certainly negotiate and talk with their MEI, these MEI folks, and I used to be one, our local folks in our community that do this job, and then they report back to the medical examiner. But it sounds like they want to make a change there. They hadn't really communicated well with their MEIs at this point, but I think they were having a meeting either yesterday or tonight on that matter. So that'll be interesting to see what they come up with. But it is absolutely crucial that we do not allow an hour 45-minute waits, bad roads, whatever. That's not acceptable, not even for our staff, but if you have a loved one that's passed away in your house or is on the ground or something, it's just not unacceptable. So we certainly want to keep a close eye on that as we move forward.
Right, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
You sure?
Thank you, Clerk Lux.
Okay. We'll move this forward then to tonight's regular meeting for consideration.
And item number 4, to consider approving the prime contract change order number 12 with Clark Construction and the net additional amount of $52,843 and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same. Do we have Heidi with us? There she is, right on cue. Pretty good. I like that.
I was having problems at first trying to get the video to work. So good
I'm
evening,
gonna turn this
everybody.
over to you, Heidi. Thank you.
So PCCO 12, the total amount is $52,843. And that included costs included for roof insulation. At bid time, when we took the pricing from the contractor, the suppliers at the time could not hold their pricing for the roof insulation until we were able to ship it. So there were some problems early on last year with insulation being a shortage. So with that extra, it was $3,410 once we finally got the insulation to ship. Excuse me. The next item on our list was the primary electrical. Consumers had let us know that the primary pole, they do not set the insulators or the crossbars. That was kind of a surprise to us. We thought that they did that. So we had our electrical contractor, Master Electric, provide us a quote for that. And to complete that cost, the total there, I didn't have it broken out separate, but the credit for adding the relay panel. So we added another relay panel, and this relay panel was for lighting in the detention area. What it did is it kind of divided the pod area where all the detention cells are in half. By doing that, we were able to save labor and also materials. So we had a credit there. We also had a lift station. There was no electrical shown on the drawings. So that was an extra to the electrical contractor to provide the conduits and the panel for that lift station that we needed for the jail. We also needed to provide a bulkhead in the classroom in the detention area. We had exposed ductwork there, so we added a bulkhead of gypsum board It's a high abuse gypsum board there, so we don't have any issues with inmates or anything like that damaging it. And then we had another area on the exterior of the building where we had a window where the metal panels were kind of coming into place and had a potential for leaks. It was going to be kind of a joint there right where the window came in. And so what we decided to do is move the metal panels and the brick. And so could avoid that possible leak down the road. We already had the windows already purchased, the glass, and the frame was already, we had the frame, but we did not build it yet. So we had just a $400 extra for glass, changing that out. It was a good catch on the contractor's point versus having a leak down the road. And then we had, let's see, detention basins. So when we first got out there and we started doing excavation on site, we ran into farm tile, and we had thought we took care of the issue by cutting it and capping it and had it drain into the detention basins. Over the summer and winter, or not winter, fall, we ran into some erosion. And so with the erosion there, we had issues with trying to get that controlled. So what we decided to do is, with the help of Rowe, to put in riprap. So that stuff will be done in the spring, and then we'll be able to regrade it all and make sure we don't have any problems later down the road.
Good.
And that cost was $11,572. So the total then of everything was $52,843. Any questions from anybody?
This time I'm gonna get it right. We're gonna deduct this from the
Buyout. Yes.
versus
Yes, we have not touched our contingency yet. We are still working with our buyout balance, and that buyout balance was from the cost savings that we had when we bought out the project almost a year ago. It's getting close to about a year ago. So beginning of December will be a year. So yes, I did not bring that sheet of paper home with me, but yes, we are still looking pretty good. We're over $1 million overall with contingency and buyout. So
good. Commissioners, any questions for Heidi or myself? Well, thank you very much, Heidi. Appreciate you very much. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and tell all the folks over there, happy Thanksgiving from us.
thank you, you as well.
Thanks,
Uh,
Heidi.
Gentlemen, we're gonna move this item to our regular session tonight.
Item number 5 is a discussion regarding Isabella County Sheriff's Office and Correctional Facility Project funding. We have a couple of items, and it's number 5 and number 6, where we are going to continue having just for discussion. There may or may not be a significant amount to discuss on any particular meeting, but we thought it was important, since these are two big projects that the county is engaged in, to make sure if there's anything that needs to be discussed, gets to the full attention of the board. I'm not aware of anything in terms of the correctional facility funding. We know we are still subtracting from our buyout, which like Heidi said, we had significant savings early on in the project, and it's been chipped away. I guess it's number 12 now. And eventually we're going to use that up. We're going to have to go to our contingency. And the contingency, well, it's a big project, and we still have another year ahead of us, more than a year ahead of us to move there. So it's likely that that contingency is going to be consumed, and we may have to find some additional resources to finish up some of the adjustments. But as these adjustments come forward, they do make sense. I mean, we try to attend the meetings out at the construction site. Heidi does a good job of relaying to us exactly what it's for. I haven't had any qualms about any of the change orders up to this point.
Mr. Chair, I know for myself, I do attend the meetings out there on a regular basis, at least once a month. A lot of good communication, very good progress. I know we're about 40% complete, right around there, a little more maybe. I know we've been running over 80% in terms of a completion rate, trying to get things done in a timely fashion. Target is what, 70, 75 is their target rate. So they've been continually above that in terms of their progress. So that's a good thing. Other thing is I wanted to mention is, obviously our contingency is a skinny one. So I know, Heidi has made an effort to get out in front of any potential costs that we may have to incur that will come out of that contingency. And I appreciate her for doing that, because I know when we go to the meetings, she's very upfront and to try to avoid any potential surprises down the road. Not saying there won't be, but she's trying to, keep us abreast of anything that could come that she foresees. So.
I mean, Heidi and Jeff, they're two very capable people staying on top of the job and trying to wrench out any savings and minimize additional costs as they come forward. So we appreciate that. Are there questions any of the members of the board have concerning the project or its funding? All right. We won't move this forward because it's just a discussion item.
Item number 6 is our Isabella County Administration Building Asbestos Removal, Cleaning and Rebuilding Expenses discussion. So I think you started this off earlier. I guess we can continue the discussion from here.
Sure. So we know right now we've quantified the abatement costs, right? The abatement contract that the board approved last Tuesday at our special meeting, just over 1.2, almost $1.3 million. We don't know yet what the rebuilding will cost, but obviously that will come as we're working to write a request for bids for architectural services for the rebuilding, right? Because we know the abatement contractors are going to give the building back after the abatement without putting the flooring back, right? Without putting the ceiling tiles back, that type of thing. But we also know, excuse me, that the contractor is considering giving it back to us floor by floor. So we want to be ready with an architect to start that rebuilding, and we'll have to bid out some of those, a number of those things, or that maybe the architect will. I had a nice conversation with Chairman about the fact that we don't need an architect for everything, right? And not putting everything into that RFB that we could handle on our own, because why would we pay that extra percentage, right?
Well, we don't need
On those things. The painting of it, we can probably manage procuring that kind of thing.
True.
I do want to say, in terms of what we've done to this end, we were really validated yesterday because we had one of those surprise visits from MIOSHA, who showed up at the building and called administration and wanted to know, why the building was closed. Why did he see people going in and out unmasked, right? And he wanted to see our asbestos building survey that Northern Analytical had performed, the very first sampling and testing that they did for asbestos when we were going to move ahead with the HVAC project. And they wanted to see the air quality reports after the testing. So I went through everything with him, brought him copies of all of that, met him at the county building. So he got to see firsthand what was going on there. He read through the reports and read through the air quality reports and let us know that in no way would he be writing a citation. We hadn't violated anything. We've gone above and beyond. We've chosen standards that we don't even have to adhere to, like K through 12 buildings. We evacuated, immediately as soon as we found out that there could be a concern, and we waited until we had the air quality tests. And when we got the test back, we said, no, you're gonna go test all the spaces for air, not just a couple of samples on each floor. So he really applauded us for being aggressive in our response. And I know we've been visited by MIOSHA a few times in the last year, and that resulted in us being fined in certain things. So I was really, really proud of our response and the way we've managed this situation thus far. Scary situation at first, but like I said, really felt validated, and he's offered up some resources. He says that MIOSHA is a carrot and a stick. he brings the stick, but he gave us some carrot resources to reach out to too. That is good, yes. Conversely, I did touch base with the brownfields division at the state, and it does not look like our asbestos abatement program hits the metrics of their funding program, but I'll keep looking to see what we can do. Interestingly enough, in meeting with the auditors to see what we could do with our ARPA dollars that we have already reported on from before. Oh gosh, what year? Maybe 2021, I believe. We used just over $1 million of ARPA for public safety payroll in the budget. And what we said was we were taking that out of revenue replacement. And when we met with the auditors, they kept telling us, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Yes, that's where we took it. Well, but when we reported it to the feds, we took it out of direct. Am I saying that backward? Yeah, we took it out of direct. And so that actually leaves a little over $1 million of revenue replacement of ARPA that we have available to us. It doesn't create any money for us, right? We still had the same old ARPA we had, but we haven't recognized that as revenue yet. Right? So it'll be kind of a net zero, right? Then for the just about cover that $1.2 million abatement bill. So there's a little bit of good news there, but really it's a shell game with ARPA, right? Because we had those two categories, revenue replacement and direct dollars. Revenue replacement, you can spend on anything. Direct, it had to be COVID related. We do believe we can relate this back to COVID because there's a section in ARPA that allows for, if you go down the road of an ARPA project and you uncover maintenance items or administrative things that need to be taken care of to carry that out, you can use ARPA dollars for that. So ultimately we have to do that HVAC project, maybe not as it was, but some form of HVAC project. The abatement would be a part of that because we can't do the HVAC project without abating the asbestos in the building. So I do believe that helps to, if you will, free up ARPA dollars. So the abatement, we know now the cost, the rebuilding, we don't, but we're working on the scope of that rebuilding and hopefully soon getting some prices. Yes,
So
sir.
on the ARPA funding, I know there's two pools and one of them was lost income, which we're going to use most of that for helping to finance the construction of the correctional facility. And then we have the direct. And we had made some decisions on how to use those direct. Have you had a chance to reach out to those offices, departments that were in line to receive some, to let them know that that may not happen now?
Yes, the stuff that you've the funds that you've obligated, we're not going to take that back. You had already obligated monies towards the treasurer's foreclosure prevention program. We're not pulling those back at this point. Now, I don't think he'll need the whole 200,000 that the board allocated to him. So I will be having that conversation of how much might be coming back to us from that. But yes, we've been having those discussions. Nothing will get pulled back from what's been obligated, if you will, but going forward, they know there's other obligations to cover now.
I know it's short turnaround since we've gotten a new building to move to, a lot going on. Moving plans to move forward with getting together with elected officials and department heads about what they foresee the design of their or footprint of their space being.
Yes, we actually started that last Thursday, and it was a really neat exercise. That there's a lot of people who I think have been in that building a long time, just waiting for this question to be asked, right? And there was a lot of, I thought, thoughtful input about just things we hadn't even thought of. Well, why don't you house me with them? Because we do this and they do this and it makes sense. And I think a lot of realization, this purging that we're doing right now, I think it's opening our eyes of do we really need all that space? And not to say we're not going back, or we're going back to the county building, but what else could be there maybe, right? What else could we house there with us maybe? If we don't have all that paper, all that stuff.
You know, I was there for that meeting, and I very much appreciate the conversations that were had. I really like the idea of downsizing. They're trying to figure out a way to downsize or switch spaces. And again, like you were saying, now we might be able to have some extra space to do something else with, to help provide other services or create an opportunity that we just never even thought of before. So I really like that. It was very impressive sitting there watching what was going on. And I got to thank Director Griffiths for putting this together. It was very well done. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this all plays out when all these department heads and electeds get together and try to work through this. Very interested in seeing how this all plays out.
Director Griffiths has been a huge help through this whole process.
So if there's extra space available, I know we're kind of thinking about not using the original BOC meeting room. Since it has windows, is that a good place for, was it 7-day pre-election? Yeah,
Oh, in the future? Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I'm having a dedicated space.
We were thinking daycare.
We need to have security.
That came out of the conversation Thursday,
Yeah.
daycare.
I think that's a great idea. I've always mentioned it, and
It rose
we
pretty
all
high
have problems
priority.
with recruitment and, keeping our employees. I had talked to employees about it and they thought it was such a good idea.
Heck of a benefit to offer, wouldn't it be?
Silver linings to this whole unfortunate situation.
It really is, yeah. And the one glaring thing that came from Kathleen Schaefer. Why do we have, if you've been to the treasurer's office, right? There's a doorway in the hallway that is just a entryway for you. And then you go into the sanctity of the office and there's their window. It's silly, right? Bring that window out to the hallway. Why are we doing this way? So just simple things like that. Simple things like in our temporary location, we're going to have a main atrium where the public comes, right? Could we maybe revisit that fishbowl in the lobby? Could that become a main reception area again? Tour guide area.
Well, obviously, all this asbestos removal, the cleaning of the building, rebuilding of the building, it's gonna take some time. And I know we originally thought maybe 6 months, could take more than that, but we have room in the new building. Can that be made known yet, where we're going?
Yes,
Because I don't
sir.
know if that's been announced, but is there room there for holding the elections? If not, where are we gonna hold that?
Not enough parking. I have to meet with the township clerk and go over it. But we need ample room for parking, and once we get the employees parked there and then the public comes there. And I don't think the election workers want to work in a box with no windows and
Mhm.
we have other areas that we can look at that way and figure it out.
The only other comment, and I will continue to make that every time, is this is money we don't have. It catches us at a very difficult, stressful financial time to begin with, where we're gonna have to seek a couple of mills to right the financial ship for the county and maintain services over time. But I know I did at committee ask if we could have an updated 10-year forecast with some type of placemaker for these costs. We don't know what these costs are gonna be. It could be 3 million, could be 5 million, could be 12 million. We don't know that. But I'm thinking maybe having a 10-year update using a 5 million figure just to know where we're at. Because I know we're real close to push and shove right now.
Yeah.
And that's going to committee or?
That is being worked on as we speak and is supposed to be available for the 2:30 millage meeting tomorrow. So that we can, look at different millage rates, different lengths of time, building in some estimated costs for the abatement and the rebuilding, right? that's what we do with that tool now.
Hmm.
When we know
That's what
an
it's for.
expense or a revenue, it gets built in there. That's what the tool is for. So we'll be using that tomorrow in the millage group meeting.
Thank you.
I appreciate the vice chairman asking for that updated forecast. That'll help tremendously. And this has been an unfortunate situation, but it's moving along. Things are coming together. Everybody's working together really well. I really feel that separating out some of the things that the architect will do and some of the stuff that we can do ourselves will save us money. And kind of limit the scope of what we absolutely have to have that architect for and do some of the other stuff ourselves. So,
Smart.
and everyone's been pretty receptive to that idea so far. So
There's one last thing. I know I'm very much looking forward to getting those forecasts, those 10-year forecasts, because they really give us a real clear financial picture, a clearer financial picture of where we could be down the road. I think that's going to help us make a better decision about the millage request. Looking forward to that. So thank you to MEDOC for putting that together. Thank you very much. The last thing for everybody at the county building who's stepped up in a huge way to continue to provide services. I know Clerk Lux, she stepped up huge in this process to make this work. So thank you, ma'am. Make this work to keep everyone who does have to do business with the county. It seems almost seamless. We had a couple issues, but very few, and you can't do that without really good people. So thank you to everybody at the county building that's stepped up to make this thing work, make this transition work, and then get us back into the building as soon as possible. So thank you all.
have a comment?
It was back towards the millage. I really do think that if we're gonna take this seriously and not just throw it to the wind, we need to get a marketing firm involved. We need to have a clear, concise message. I think that the atmosphere around the state from increased millage are right around our county, say in Clare and stuff, then a lot of millages been denied. And I understand that, I mean, there's financial hardship out there. But we need that. I don't think we're going to pass a millage unless we have a clear marketing and concise message. It's money that we should think that we're spending to make money, or, you know, to make that millage, and get that communication across. I really think that we will fail without that extra effort. And I don't think we can afford to fail.
I have a comment. It might be a time, speaking to what you just said, Commissioner, I think we might have a resource in the Chamber of Commerce, and that's the things that they do. So I think we should reach out to them too and get some ideas from them. I'm sure they would be glad to do that. And we're a member, you know. There's also the Michigan Development Corporation. I mean, we do have some resources in those areas, I think, that we could take advantage of. I agree with you too. I mean, it's not, we have to make an effort.
Right.
Could end up really bad.
It really is. Well, that's just a placekeeper in our work session agenda, so it won't be going to tonight. So
Completes the items for the Finance and Administration Committee, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioners, Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
First up, consider approving the non-secure contract for residential services between Isabella County Court and McBride Quality Care for 1 year, October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024, at a total cost of $315,000, with portions of the contractual costs reimbursable through the Child Care Fund, and authorize board chair to sign the same. All right, so this was presented with Carrie Curtis. This is the portion of our Child Care Fund that is reimbursable by 50%. You'll see second one, the state for some items, and that's why this is separated out. This is the historical, and to tell you the truth, I can't remember why. Is Carrie Curtis on? I'm sorry.
is, and
The
she'll
last-
remember.
When I looked up there previously before our section, I didn't see you, or I'm terribly sorry. So you can explain the difference in reimbursables, please.
Absolutely. So non-secure is considered a detention facility. So non-secure expenses are only reimbursable at 50%. It's a bit more complicated than that as far as non-secure is concerned because it is county owned but not county operated. So they won't reimburse the entire amount of the contract with McBride because not only Isabella County kids take advantage of that and not the entire contractual amount is reimbursable. So that's a lot of words. But what it comes down to is portions of the non-secure agreement with McBride is reimbursable. You have heard me talk a lot of times, and we've had lots of discussions about non-secure and what it does. But what you haven't seen before is this contract, because the county has been operating with McBride on what I call the gentleman's agreement for 20 years. I think we had a contract initially, and then it was back and forth on, sometimes it was a handshake, sometimes it was an email or whatever agreement happened, which worked very well, except for our most recent child care fund audit, which required us to get a contract, which is appropriate because we really do need to have that agreement. So we do have a 1-year contract that has been vetted through legal, as well as signed off on by McBride and Judge Janes. So we're just asking for the Board of Commissioners to authorize the chairman to sign this 1-year agreement, and we'll see what happens next year.
All right, any questions for the trial court administrator? All right, seeing none, we'll move this forward to the regular session.
Okay, next up, we have, it's very similar to the one we just talked about. It's consider approving the contract for day treatment operations between Isabella County Trial Court, and McBride Quality Care for 1 year, October 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2024, at the total cost of $516,000 with a 75% of cost reimbursement through the Child Care Fund, and authorize board chairperson to sign the same. Okay, pretty similar. The only changes as last year, this is for the day treatment program. I think you said it's been going on for 20 years. The changes, I think last time was 50 and they upped it to 75%. So really you can't get much bang for your buck for that to help our youth in this community. So Carrie, would you like to comment further on this?
So again, this is a program that has been in existence for 20 plus years. Same situation as non-secure. We have an agreement with McBride, hasn't been formalized for many years. Child Care Fund audit said we needed to make that happen. The exciting part for this is that it's a 75% reimbursement because it's a program versus a detention. So the Child Care Fund will reimburse the county for 75% of the entire contractual amount. So that is new this year, and we are very happy that that has increased from 50 to 75. So
I think I remember in committee, we did talk about why that increase was, and you thought maybe it had to do with the 17-year-olds being considered in the juvenile. So it did increase the amount of people that's going through that. So
yes, there's a multitude of things. A lot of things are going on in the juvenile realm, but some of it does relate back to that requirement for those 17-year-olds and how are we going to fund that? So a portion of it has to do with that. Yes.
okay, is there any more questions? Seeing none, we'll move that forward to tonight's session. And Mr. Chairman, that completes work of the Criminal Justice and County Fairness.
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving, Commissioner, Madam.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Human Resources and Public Works Committee.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our first item is consider approving change order number 2 from JBS Contracting Incorporated in the amount of $6,003 for the Commission on Aging's Pavilion Project and authorize the board chair to sign the same. We have Jennifer Crawford here today, our Director of the Commission on Aging, to give us the lowdown on this. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi there. So yes, so the change order $6,783. This covers a backflow preventer that has to be installed at the meter per Union Township. And it also includes our sewer and water tap fees, which we were very pleasantly surprised at the amount. And so we knew we were going to have to come back with that because we didn't know it initially until recently. And so this change order covers all the materials and labor to do both of these things. And so the update on it is we were hoping that yesterday the excavator was going to be out here. That was the plan. It didn't make it. And I'm sure with today's rain, it didn't, but I was excited to see flags out there. So it is marked, and the plan is next week. I think they're supposed to be doing the footings and getting it set up. So they're still planning to get as much done that they can this fall. And I believe it sounds like it could be next week starting. So keep looking out the windows. Every day I run down here and peek or go out there. So yeah.
Anyone have any questions or comments on this long event?
Gonna happen. Happen.
And it's gonna be wonderful to have. it.
Incredible. Yes, it is. Next year.
And then hearing no more comments, we'll put this on our agenda this evening. And that concludes the work of the Human Resources and Public Works Committee, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And that will bring us down to general public comment. Is there anyone for general public comment?
Connie Lee Bills, Union Township. I just want everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
Get Dr. Bills.
Anyone else for general public comment? Seeing no one else, commissioners, any announcements? Or motion to adjourn?
So move, Marino.
Support. Been moved and supported. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned at 6:26.
Now.